happy to have you at IBECC again this year. My name is Professor Jim Arnold. I'm from the University of St. Thomas in Minneapolis. I've been on the IBECC board for about 7 years now and involved with IBECC for about 12. And as you know, this is our largest IBECC that we've ever had, and we have 39 teams from 7 countries, so you are in very good company. And we're glad to have you with us today. And I'm going to read you the rules, which chances are you have seen before. This is taken directly from our website. And the reason that we read it in the beginning of every presentation is just so that we have a level ground for everybody. In this part of the competition, you are taking on a fictional business identity and assigning a fictional business identity to the judges. Please make sure everyone knows who you are and who they are before you begin. You will have 25 minutes with a 5-minute cushion to describe the legal, financial, and ethical dimensions of the problem and to recommend a solution that passes muster on all 3 counts. During this time, you will not be interrupted. When you are finished, we will ask you questions for 20 minutes. We are going to stay in character at that point. And after the Q&A, we're going to give you feedback outside of role playing. We will become ourselves again and give you some feedback on your content. The ethical aspects of the analysis are the most important part. The other 2 are important, however. They should be described in simple, practical, common sense fashion using technical, philosophical terminology, or basing your argument on religious or theological grounds is a serious weakness. You should all be presenting you're all presenting today. Any member of the team, if you're reading his or her part, that's considered a major mistake. I see that you're not holding on to things that you're going to read. Next up, I have a couple of esteemed colleagues here. They're going to introduce themselves in their real role in life before we get going, if you would.
Sure. I'm Joe Hayes. I'm the Chief Information Officer for Group Insurance at Prudential. And Group Insurance provides insurance products that are sold to companies and that they use in their employee benefits plans.
Good morning. My name is Julie Gershman, and I am the Chief Ethics Officer at Prudential. It is coincidence that Joe and I are at the same table here. We bring very different viewpoints, and we're really excited to hear from you.
Would you next tell us who you are and what role you'd like us to play?
Yeah, most definitely. So we are the undergraduate team from the University of Illinois. Today we'll be presenting the externalities that come along with Amazon's second headquarters development. And the role we are taking on are external ethics consultants to Amazon. Okay. And the role you guys can play would be perhaps the board of directors. Correct.
Okay, you are external consultants in ethics. And we are the board of directors of Amazon.
Correct.
Which is cool because that would mean we're all rich. Okay, once again, welcome to IBECC, and you're welcome to begin.
All right, well, good morning, everyone. My name is Brett. This is Minho, Nicole, and Peyton. Today we're going to be taking on the role of external consultants for Amazon. More specifically, we're going to be talking about Amazon's Headquarters 2 projects, and we're going to be talking about sort of the ethical dilemmas that they're going to be facing with it.
So corporations, especially large multinational ones, expand their operations to new locations frequently. These can have both positive and negative effects on the communities that they enter. Today, we are going to identify and propose solutions to mitigate the negative externalities that will predictably arise from Amazon's second headquarters project.
We will first begin by providing a brief overview of Amazon and the HQ2 project, identifying any possible negative externalities we see with this development, and offering our recommendations to mitigate any of these negative externalities.
Amazon is the world's leading e-commerce company. Beyond e-commerce, Amazon is also providing substantial amount of web services such as cloud computing. It was founded by the current CEO, Jeff Bezos, 24 years ago at a garage where he sold used books on a table made out of door panels. Despite its humble beginning, Amazon currently has offices in 15 different countries and employs over 500,000 people. Last year's revenue had an increase of 31% from the previous year, resulting in a net income of $3 billion.
So with all of this growth, Amazon has determined that it's time to expand into its second headquarters outside of Seattle. This new home is going to employ up to 50,000 people. Amazon in order to find a new home, opened up a bid across the entire country, allowing any city, state, or county to offer a proposal. Recently, Amazon has narrowed down this list of proposals to the top 20 contenders, and they're all anxiously awaiting selection.
The prospect of 50,000 new jobs encouraged over 200 cities to apply for HQ2. One was Newark, New Jersey. Newark offered Amazon a very financially attractive proposal. Former Governor Chris Christie approved tax incentives totaling up to $7 billion, including a property tax abatement worth $1 billion, a city wage tax waiver that would save the company $1 billion over 20 years, as well as state job creation tax incentives that would total $5 billion over 20 years if Amazon brings in the proposed amount of jobs. Denver, Colorado also emphasized the value that it places on local employment. The incentives outlined in its proposal included a state job growth tax credit, job training grants of $1,200 per employee, an enterprise zone program, which would offer income tax credits to companies opening in financially disadvantaged areas of the city, as well as in-state tuition rates for employees. These incentives and others offered could total $100 million or more. So these are just two of the many proposals that Amazon received. It is clear that cities are willing to take significant steps to accommodate Amazon, further highlighting that the company owes something to these cities in return. The relationship that Amazon should foster with the home city of HQ2 should be symbiotic. Accepting land, local infrastructure, human capital, and tax breaks from cities creates a responsibility for Amazon to not disrupt the community that it enters, but rather better it for everyone. Working together with the city to create a mutually beneficial relationship will ensure that both sides get a fair deal.
Our main concern with Amazon's expansion is gentrification and its inevitable byproducts. Displacement of long-term residents and loss of local culture has been observed in Seattle and in other cities hosting comparable large corporations. Our main objective as the external ethics consultant is to alleviate these negative consequences as much as possible for everyone involved. This expansion will be profitable for Amazon regardless of which city it chooses, but it is critical to consider all implications other than the financial ones.
As Minho explained, gentrification is the process of more affluent people moving into a city and thus changing its dynamics. Businesses and industries often become higher scale as a result of this influx of wealthier and more educated population. As property values rise, so does the cost of rent, displacing residents who can no longer afford to live in their former housing. Gentrification has become a hot topic lately. The anti-gentrification movement has particularly flourished in cities such as California. The leader of Union de Vecinos, an anti-gentrification LA-based activist group, claims that Californians are at war to not only defend their culture, but also their homes. As housing prices increase, lower and middle income class Californians are forced out of their homes. Some have been condemned to live on streets, in shelters, and in their vehicles while searching for affordable housing. Not only does California boast the highest medium house total home, they also have the largest share of homeless unsheltered persons, a staggering 66%. Angered activists blame companies such as Facebook, Google, and Apple for changing the dynamics of their cities of California. As we can see, gentrification is a real issue for cities that house corporations similar in size and stature to Amazon across the United States already.
Displacement isn't something that's exclusive to California, and it's also not exclusive to people, to individuals. Looking specifically at Seattle, where Amazon already has a stronghold with its first headquarters, we can look at the Hurricane Cafe. The Hurricane Cafe was a local favorite in downtown Seattle. What had happened was this expanding downtown campus of Amazon, as well as other companies, resulted in the Hurricane Cafe being bought and destroyed and being replaced with 2 office buildings due to its prime real estate. This created a rather large backlash in the community, which is where this term Amazonia comes up. This term is used to describe the ever-expanding sort of hold that Amazon has on the community. The public perception of business decisions, while they might not seem like they're very important to each other and that a board of directors might have more important things to be concerned with, public perception really is important. Bad press has ruined businesses before, and we'd like to help you guys prevent that from happening to Amazon. it's in Amazon's best interest to consider public support as they're moving ahead with this project. While culture has no dollar value, we think that it's very important to consider while moving ahead. And that's what makes it difficult to consider when looking at financial reports. Bad press, like we had said, has ruined businesses before.
There are a number of legal statutes in place to prevent and combat gentrification. The Fair Housing Act prohibits unfair discriminatory housing act practices. Amendment Title VIII specifically arms attorneys with mechanisms to bring forth actions to administrative judges on behalf of fair housing victims. This amendment cuts multifamily insurance mortgage rates and also provides inclusionary zoning laws for states with large income gaps. Furthermore, certain states have adopted their own stronger zoning policies to ensure and combat gentrification. These laws outline that a certain percentage within city boundaries of housing be deemed affordable or otherwise partially subsidized by the state. Owens v. Charleston Housing Authority proceeds over such cases via adverse impact theory and the perpetuation of segregation theory. The court held that the demolition of affordable housing violates the FHA due to the segregating and disparate impacts it has on certain racial groups. Such legal repercussions are important for Amazon to keep in mind moving forward. Although it is unclear at this point which state Amazon is going to select for their second headquarters, and invariably each state has their own laws and regulations in place, there are a number of steps Amazon can take in general to prevent any legal troubles in the future. These steps include working with state, local government officials, being clear on their intentions and objectives for HQ2, and also staying true to their word on them as to not confuse and disappoint the public.
Amazon is one of the largest and most well-known corporations on the planet and is an industry leader in web services and logistics. So because of this popularity that Amazon has, countless other companies across the world are going to be scrutinizing Amazon's every move in this project. Some are waiting to see what precedents will be set by Amazon in this project, while competitors are waiting for Amazon to make a mistake in the public eye. Being under such a magnifying glass means that it is critical that Amazon adheres to strict ethical guidelines to ensure that it maintains a good image in the business world. Ethical decision-making in business has never been as important as it is today. Since the late 1980s, corporations have begun to move toward an ethical decision-making framework that centers around Edward Freeman's stakeholder theory. This theory acknowledges the importance of shareholders, but recognizes that there are many other groups that are impacted by and play important roles in the operations of a business. One of these such stakeholders is the community. The community is roughly defined as the people whose lives are affected by a business due to their geographical proximity. The community provides the company with both indirect and direct support, so the company owes the community care and consideration in response.
Understanding, as we'll be discussing, there's a lot of negative effects that will come with business of such magnitude coming into the community. Understanding that this community will invariably have to support Amazon, it will be the most ethical decision for Amazon to try to mitigate these negative consequences of the expansion and return the support many of these communities are willing to give in the form of aforementioned tax breaks. Excuse me. I'm sorry.
Someone help me out?
Yeah, so I think what Minho was going to get at is that because the community is doing a great deal of support towards Amazon, whether it be through these tax breaks or through just general public support of the project, it's important that Amazon acknowledges these stakeholders and also reciprocates beyond simply providing jobs, because we believe that these jobs, while will be beneficial to the community, don't do an adequate job of fully supporting everyone in the community, because not everyone's going to have a job from Amazon.
Okay, and I'll take it from there. I'm really sorry. So it is important for Amazon to think and act ethically, because as we have addressed before, As a corporation, Amazon's goal is to make money for its shareholders, but shareholders are not the only ones affected by Amazon's decisions. Although we understand that there's no one perfect solution that will benefit every stakeholder at no cost to any other, by using the utilitarian approach, we have devised several solutions that aim to balance the interests of each stakeholder group and serve the majority of the people impacted.
So with a better understanding of these issues at hand, we've devised a couple of solutions that might help Amazon in the future. Most importantly, we were looking at, or not most importantly, but first and foremost, we were looking at Amazon's Business Ethics Code of Conduct. Essentially, most businesses will use these to outline their ethical framework. It outlines their commitment to various stakeholders, and it's really for public perception because it allows anyone to go and kind of look at a company and view how the company treats its various stakeholders. When looking at Amazon's, we found that it was pretty bare bones in the sense that it complied with the law, and beyond that, there really wasn't much else. When we compared it to other companies such as Apple or Google, we found that these comparable companies outlined more of an ethical framework than Amazon did. And we feel that because Amazon has never been known for doing the bare minimum with anything, it only makes the most sense for Amazon to sort of come out and create a more intense code of conduct in the years of the future. Additionally, we looked at Amazon's mission statement. As you can see, it centers mostly around the customer, which we believe is important to a business, but we also believe that Amazon should understand that they affect much more than the customer these days. Because of that, we would advise a revision of the mission statement to include a commitment to the communities that they affect. On top of that, we have three main solutions that we think will help mitigate the damages done by gentrification. The first is a donation into community institutions. The second will focus on local investment through employment. And the third will be an investment in low-income housing.
One of the easiest ways to prevent and combat gentrification is to invest in the local community, more specifically in local education. Financial constraints are a main determinant in which universities students can attend. Amazon could help out by creating a 4-year educational scholarship program that they offer to students who show strong academic futures and also who require financial support to pursue a higher education. In doing so, Amazon will show its commitment to the local community members and stimulate the overall educational level of the state in which it chooses to house HQ2. In addition to a 4-year university scholarship program, we propose that Amazon select a couple of local high schools, grade schools, and community college to invest in. These investments can include things such as donating educational supplies, money for books, or renovating academic facilities and buildings. Such donations will allow local schools nearby to house and accommodate more students and overall enhance and enrich the local community. This will help prove that Amazon is not just there to change the community's dynamics, but to improve the community that it's going to enter. Furthermore, sports are a very important part of the local culture in many neighborhoods. Amazon could contribute to donate an existing stadium or build a completely new one in order to enhance fans' experience and also the athletes as well. Such an enhancement will not only keep the local culture, but enhance it. As we have described, each of these solutions are trying to mitigate each of the problems that we've outlined before, and so we believe that investing in the local community will really help keep that local culture and will want people to stay in the community rather than moving and displacing them. Although some of these actions may seem somewhat economical, a lot of them are already part of Amazon's culture. Last year, Amazon donated $10 million to the University of Washington's plan to construct a new computer science and engineering building. So, in sum, we believe that investing in the local community will benefit Amazon greatly and prove that it's dedicated to the local community, to social responsibility, and to ethics overall.
To prove Amazon's commitment in local investment, Amazon could also create educational programs to university students who are seeking employment through Amazon post-graduation. Corporations such as Google has been successful with such projects in the past. Google University provides computer sciences courses to local students that are highly demanded in the workforce. Amazon could also create such programs to allow students in their university or college years to study about Amazon's supply chain, financial models, and engineering, to name a few. Upon completing these courses, these students will be on the top of the list for such internships and jobs through Amazon. Hiring and teaching local students will prove Amazon's commitment in developing the community rather than restructuring it. And to give more specific example, for community colleges, students only have 2 years. So Amazon could provide an entire major program dedicated in teaching these students the right skills that are favored in Amazon. So by the time of their graduation, these students will be ready to work with Amazon full on. And for public university, Amazon could introduce very similar educational programs. But since university students have 4 years rather than 2, Amazon could introduce a variety of different courses and programs to these students. One program could start in a student's junior year, where the student will take several classes designed or recommended by Amazon. If these students perform really well in these classes, Amazon could also offer them internship opportunities during the students' winter or summer breaks. And for those who had an internship with Amazon through such programs, they will also be given higher opportunities to work full-time with Amazon post-graduation. Providing these educational programs will not only allow Amazon to hire numerous employees with the right skill set, but also at the same time, they were able to mitigate the negative externalities of displacement because they will be able to hire more local students.
So although investing in education and local employment will lessen many of the concerns that we've mentioned, housing remains a major contributor to gentrification and displacement. When large corporations move into an area, they often bring higher housing prices with them, creating a real problem for local low-income people who have lived there for generations.